Hey there! This time I'm going to show you some ways how to make your lights and shadows more interesting by varying the colors of them. So let's get to it. Okay, so I have here a drawing of a rowlet that I did a while ago, and we have here just the ground colors. And I'm going to add some shadows by simply making the ground color a little bit darker, and that's pretty much it. If we look closely, then for example here this brown just got darker like this, and also the leaf here or the foot. So we did not change the saturation or the color. This is an easy way to draw colors, and if you're using digital media then you can use a multiply layer to draw these. However, it's a little bit boring, won't you say? So to make it a little bit more interesting, we can change the color of the shadow and also vary the saturation. One way would be, for example, to change it more into the direction of blue and also lower the saturation. And this would be this example. If we look at the brown again, then you can see that it moved more into the magenta area, closer to blue. The same for the leaf, where we had a blue-green kind of color, then we are already at the blue area. And the same for the foot. And you notice too that I lowered the saturation for these colors too. So this way the ground color pops up a little bit more. Of course you can be very creative and use some very different colors and also increase the saturation if you want to make it even more colorful. For example, this here has very strong colors and it's very strongly into the blue direction. Like here you can see we have this brown, and all of a sudden we are in the blue area and even more saturated. If you look at the leaves, then we're all of a sudden in a yellowish green. So you can see there are many different ways. What I also highly recommend is to add some color to very gray shadows, like for example here with the white area and just gray as a shadow. It's very boring, and I recommend to you that you use some warm or cold colors depending on the situation and make it more interesting. Like for example here we have a kind of a magenta color to it. To explain you the next thing, I chose Yoshi, and you can see, well, I did a very sloppy job with the shadows, but forgive me for that. And you can see I have this ground color here, the green, and very blue color for the shadows. Very high contrast. And also the same for the shell, where we get the purple area. And now what I want to do is to add a background. So we are in a kind of cave or maybe something like that, and it's pretty dark. And now all of a sudden the colors of Yoshi don't seem right. First of all, it's way too bright, wouldn't you say so? So lower the brightness. Okay, so it's better, but it still seems kinda unnatural, wouldn't you say so? Well, the thing is, and if you watched my video about color science, is that when it gets darker, we see less color. And this is because our cones, which are there for seeing colors, need a lot of light. And if it's very dark, then mostly our rods are working, which work only in the grayscale. And therefore, the saturation would be lower if it gets darker. And we can only see the highly saturated dark colors when it's actually bright. So what we need to do is to lower the saturation. Another thing would be also to change the colors. There we have it again. In dark situations, especially here, it's a good way to change the colors more into a blue direction. And especially here because we have a blue background. So there we go. So it looks darker, but actually the brightness did not change that much. But I moved the colors more into a blue direction and lowered the saturation. And therefore it looks much more like it's in a dark cave. Okay, so as you can see on the ceiling we have some kind of a yellowish light, and then what I want to do is to let this light shine on Yoshi. And there we go. Now what I did is I did not exactly just paste some yellow onto it. I did it with a very low opacity, and what happens here now is as we get more and more into the lighted area, we can see that the color moves more and more into the yellow. And also the saturation, of course, is changing. And the same works, for example, here, where it moves more and more to the yellow, from red to orange. Although these areas are not exactly yellow, but green or orange or something like that, it still looks yellow. And so keep in mind, when you shine some colored light onto something, then you also mix it a little bit with the ground colors. Alright, so I think that this tip is very useful. I only learned about it like about a year ago, and it helped me a lot making my drawings pop out more, make it more colorful, more interesting. Okay, now it's Q&A time again, and this time I got a question how I started with drawing. Now, I don't know exactly where to start. Well, since my childhood I enjoy drawing and I do it since then. And when I finished school, I had to choose between two ways, either to study physics or to become an artist. And well, it was pretty obvious to me that I study physics, because much better job chances and stuff like that. And in the beginning I enjoyed it actually. It was really fun. However, as the years went on, it was more and more frustrating to me because I wasn't able to keep up anymore. It was too complicated for me, and I lost my motivation, my joy into it, and it made me unhappy. But I always enjoyed drawing, and it was actually my dream to draw my own comics and actually to also have a tutorial show. I had this dream many years ago, and so I made a decision last summer to change that, and since about more than a year I try to become successful as an artist. And I'm still not earning anything, but it makes me happy. It's something that I enjoy, and well, hopefully I get successful at some point. So yeah, you could say I started drawing professionally since summer 2015. Now the question for you, do you have some sort of art-related dream? Like you want to draw your own comic, you want to work at an animation studio or something like that? For me, it would be to draw a comic with a huge story and really epic and inspired by many other stories that I really, really love. And my other dream would be this here. I love it and I want to keep doing it. I really enjoy it. So yeah, if you have any questions, feedback or requests for me, then please let me know in the comment section or send me a tweet. And if you want to help me keep the show running, then you can also support me on Patreon, where you can also get some nice rewards. Alright then, have fun drawing!